system. ECG has over 90 districts that it services within the southern sector of Ghana. For that, it decided to have different sets of people with a certain criteria that would plug into our system, and we give them the rights to sell power on our behalf. As you know, it's prepaid, so they come in, they prepay for the service that they are going to sell, and then they sell based on commission. I am serving a group of people called the People of Ghana. I sell electricity with a company called the Electricity Company of Ghana. I admit, and our company admits its fault, that we were not able to deliver service to the customers, and we are very, very sorry for that. That was our fault, that we were not on top of our game to deliver a service. Let's not forget, in such a business, the customer is the one that always gets hurt when you don't deliver on your promise. So when I said I admit my fault in not being able to deliver the service that we promised to deliver.
That any contract extension will not help sustain the current peaceful and congenial industrial atmosphere within the company. The meeting further suggested that any new person who will be appointed in the capacity of managing director should be given specific performance targets with key performance indicators, brackets KPIs, coupled with periodic monitoring by the board and key stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, the meeting unanimously reiterated the need for the appointing authority to treat the aforementioned concerns with the needed urgency and caution. The staff of the company, some of whom have worked for over 20 and 30 years, are surprised by the fast pace the company is slipping into bankruptcy and total destruction, especially under
utility distributors must ensure enforcement, which is very, very true. And the bane of our problem as a nation, no enforcement. We have all the laws, we have all the allies, we have everything, all the protocols, all the procedures and others. Enforcement is a problem.
Former President John Mahama there, yes, say you can adi yes I can say adi me bomba is obi amfa adi in your politics. Ye bomodi ama yensa duru yensa kan no. Yensa kan no ono ne de no already na otua.
Okay, onu tua na build that.
Onu tua na build that. Enti sisia they all say ye need ba be din komo moving forward so that it will be absorbed na ye chief of staff ayede.
I pay the electricity bill for my house and my office. I pay the water bill for my house and my office. I live in my own accommodation, so the state does not pay me anything for accommodation. They haven't given me an office. I rent an office in East Cantonments. I pay the rent myself. I pay my own fuel. The state doesn't give me fuel. I pay my own domestic staff. I pay my own medical bills. I pay my own air tickets when I travel. You know, I'm traveling tonight. I bought those tickets myself, for myself and my wife. And so all those things he said are rubbish. Yes, somebody gave him what we're entitled to. And probably they're doing it for President Kufuor, but they are not doing it.
Then you went to Parliament of Ghana. Why did you do that? Parliament was in session. They are debating the State of the Nation address. And you got your men out there to disconnect the arm of government, I mean, the legislature. Why so?
You said Parliament was working.
Yes.
What was ECG doing?
ECG was working.
Okay. Next question.
But you plunged the whole Parliament of Ghana, so elevators lift were not working,
17,000. In fact, today, if you go to the website, because new projects have now been added, because districts are saying we have 18,075, not 17,000 anymore.
And it can be tracked?
Oh yeah, it's the same website. It's the same website, 18,075. But if that is the case, right, and you say 26 have problems, and we are going to interrogate that 26, that means you are saying that 99.9% of what you have done is correct. If you can only find 26 that are not correct, right? If those stand to scrutiny, 99.9%. Now that is massive. 17,000. In fact, today, if you go to the website, because new projects have now been added, because districts are saying we have 18,075, not 17,000 anymore.
And it can be tracked?
Oh yeah, this is the same website. It's the same website, 18,075. But if that is the case, right, and you say 26 have problems, and we are going to interrogate that 26, that means you are saying that 99.9% of what you have done is correct. If you can only find 26 that are not correct, right? If those stand to scrutiny, 99.9%. Now that is massive. 17,000. In fact, today, if you go to the website, because new projects have now been added, because districts are saying we have 18,075, not 17,000 anymore.
And it can be tracked?
Oh yeah, this is the same website.
See, the funny thing is, we walk around thinking it's our right to electricity.
Isn't it?
It's not a right. It's a
not.
privilege.
I see.
It becomes a right when you are paying.
Aren't we paying?
Some are paying, others are not.
No, but
some are paying, others are not.
Don't lump it together. You're just lumping everything together, and it's not a privilege. It's our right because we've paid for it.
That's the truth. That's what I'm saying. Some, I said it earlier, some are paying, others are not. Others have tampered with the meter. It's not reading right. Someone has had a prepaid meter that he's been paying only a certain set amount every single month. It's not possible.
Energy sector, the current power cuts. Some people are saying that you made mention of this. You use this as a campaign against John Mahama, and now we are experiencing a worse situation under President Akufo-Addo. Would it reflect in the 2024 election? Would it be something that people will stand on to vote?
If you are comparing 4 years, MPP administration, energy sector is 300 times better than John Mahama.
But we are still experiencing doom so.
Nobody has said we haven't. I'm just saying it's far much better than John Mahama ever did.
You do admit that there's doom so.
That is the word you used. I have never used that word. I've promised you that we are going to work on it. And it's not a work that is a single event. It's a process. And we'll continue to work on it for the energy sector to become better.
Have you heard of calls for a timetable?
Ask those who want it to bring it.
They should bring the timetable.
If there is, I haven't seen any timetable. So when
people are calling for it.
Say bring a timetable. What do you mean? The ECG says that there's no timetable coming. Why do you want to bring a timetable? What purpose? Why would somebody get up and wish evil or bad for the country? When it is not planned, you can't tell the person. Were you in Ghana under John Mahama? Did you live in this country under John Mahama? Did you live in this country under John Mahama? Did you? I'm asking you a question. Did you live in this?
It was equally worse.
It cannot be equally worse.
Look, MPP use it as a tool against them.
And I'm saying that even if you are talking about that, it was worse under John Mahama than ever now.
Under my tenure as president, our challenges in the power sector became so severe. I accepted the responsibility and took some bold decisions to provide a sustainable solution to the problem. I did not throw my hands in the air in despair and blame my predecessors for the crisis. When the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government took over, they have disingenuously tried to take credit for the work that was done in the power sector. And they rather blamed my administration for investing in excess capacity. Today, the country has been plunged into darkness. Mismanagement of our generating assets and collateralization of the ESLAN, which was meant to provide the resources to finance current and legacy debt, has led us back into doomsday. The best government can do is to eat humble pie, take responsibility for the problem, and work to address it. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I'm aware that businesses and households cannot plan because of the erratic power situation. When citizens demanded for a schedule to enable them plan, which is the least that the responsible government should be doing, Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who was one of the frontline participants in the Dumso Must Stop campaign while in opposition, is reported to have said that those asking for a load shedding timetable wish ill for the country and they should publish their own schedule. This is most disrespectful to Ghanaians and the customers of electric power.
Mr. Speaker, the final, based on your answers, Honourable Minister, which one is it too much?
Is asking his last question.
Which one is too much, Leader? Based on your answers provided, Mr. Speaker, and the answers that were provided by the Finance Minister related to this same question on Thursday, 17th June 2021, which remains a record of this House. Is it true or false that Ghana pays $1 billion annually as excess capacity charges?
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. That is false. The figure he just quoted, 1 billion, is false. Thank you.
He says 1 billion is false. I've repeated his response. He says it's false. Yes, Leader. Member for Tamale North, Honorable Suhini Alasa Saibu, to ask the Minister his first question.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister of Finance which independent power producing companies have received payment from the government of Ghana for excess capacity charges and how much was paid to each company in the last 4 years. Thank you.
Yes, Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Honourable Member from Tamale North, because these are very important issues of power for us as a country. Mr. Speaker, the underlisted independent producers have received payments for excess capacity charge for the period under review 2017 to 2020, totaling $937.5 million. The breakdown is as follows. AXA, $347.2 million, Car Power, $359.00 million, and Cent Power, $231.3 million. Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable supplementary question.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Minister's answer is in the form of a range, a period between or period under review 2017 to 2020. Will the Minister be kind enough to break it down to how much was paid for each year? How much was paid for each year? Thank you.
Honourable members, when I say if the minister is minded, then I'm looking at it that probably the question is being shifted. So if the minister is minded, he can answer the question. Other than that, so Minister, if you think you can.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Honourable Member, thank you very much for the supplementary question.
The amount, as I stated, from 2017 to 2020 totals $937.5 million US. Breakdown is as follows. AXA 2017, 35.7 million. 2018, 59.4 million. 2019, 136.8 million. 2020, 115.3 million. Totaling 347.2. Car power 65.3 million 2017, 108.9 million. I beg your pardon?
Honourable Minister, may you please speak up a bit? Please, let's have order here so that we can hear it well.
For car power, 2017, 65.3 million. 2018, 108.9 million. 2019, 138 million. 2020, 46.8 million, coming to 359 million for the period. Same power, 0 for 2017, 0 for 2018, 86.5 million 2019, 144.8 million 2020, 231.3 million total. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
No, Honourable Minister. Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your answer. Will you be kind, Honourable Minister, to also let us know the quantity of megawatts that was determined to be excess for which these payments were made? Yes. The quantity of megawatts that were determined to be the excess for which these payments were made.
Minister, are you minded to answer?
Yes, and so we don't have a direct control when the reports are ready, when the reports are completed. What we can do at best is to impress upon ranking members and the chair. So I can assure him today we have. What's your problem? This is better than your situation. This is better than what we experienced under you. You should know this. Sir George, you should know this. This is far better than what we experienced under your tenure. So, fact be told, as we speak, 3 of the reports are almost ready. My friend should go easy, but I want to caution him that he should equally talk to his ranking members. They should quickly read through the report to receive the signatures of the chairman. And therefore, we are up for being ready to prosecute government business. There's no doubt about it. I'm surprised at him. And you know we are very ready. What am I going to say?
Well, Minority Chief Whip.
Mr.
Of Dumso, and Dumso has been caused by the financial and economic mismanagement by this government, and so we shouldn't be giving them credit for solving a problem that they have solved.
This demonstration is not to topple the government. This demonstration is to indicate to Ghanaians the insensitivity of John Mahama's government. The insensitivity of John Mahama's government. This is not to topple government. We don't We are going to vote next year, and we are going to vote them out massively. That is good governance. That is partisanship. We are going to democratically remove John Mahama from power. Not do this demonstration, but the demonstration is to demonstrate to John Mahama and Ghanaians that what is going on is bad. If you are feeling the heat, like Ghanaians are feeling the heat, if you are buying electricity and they are having it for free, if your salary, you are spending 60% of your salary on electricity bills, then you understand what I'm suffering. I am suffering. John Mahama is not suffering. How do you expect the members of the members as a collective to speak on your behalf when you decided to give majority to such a bad government, NBC? Ghanaians should realize that their term matters. Your term matters. Your term matters. When you go and vote, you have to know that the consequences are ahead of you for the next 4 years. The term the Ghanaians gave to John Mahama has shown that they should never again people trust John Mahama. This demonstration is not to topple the government. This demonstration is to indicate to Ghanaians the insensitivity of John Mahama's government. The insensitivity of John Mahama's government. This is not to topple government. We don't advocate for a regime change this way. We are going to vote next year, and we are going to vote them out massively. That is good governance. That is partisanship. We are going to democratically remove John Mahama from power. Not do this demonstration, but the demonstration is to demonstrate to John Mahama and Ghanaians that what is going on is bad. If you are feeling the heat, like Ghanaians are feeling the heat, if you are buying electricity and they are having it for free, if your salary, you are spending 60% of your salary on electricity bills, then you understand what I'm suffering. I am suffering. John Mahama is not suffering. How do you expect the members of the members as a collective to speak on your behalf when you decided to give majority to such a bad government, NBC? Ghanaians should realize that their term matters. Your term matters. Your term matters. When you go and vote, you have to know that the consequences are ahead of you for the next 4 years. The term the Ghanaians gave to John Mahama has shown that they should never again people trust John Mahama.
Na general hospital baby ayewo. Enye ya dey ntana me ba on wood no be won first way na mo the light out munni aka kraka way aka se way nti munni muntimi find solution bi am be so light am nkola no on be survive kunkola ne keke.
I was supposed to go and visit my child around 4 a.m. this morning. So when I went there, I couldn't find my child, and the doctor told me to wait outside. So I was outside, and he came that they are sorry because I've lost my child due to the light out last night.
Na general hospital baby ayewo. Enye ya dey ntana me ba on wood no be won first way na mo the light out munni aka kraka way aka se way nti munni muntimi find solution bi am be so light am nkola no on be survive kunkola ne keke.
I was supposed to go and visit my child around 4 a.m. this morning. So when I went there, I couldn't find my child, and the doctor told me to wait outside. So I was outside, and he came that they are sorry because I've lost my child due to the light out last night.
Na general hospital baby ayewo. Enye ya.
What is stage in life, and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth. You are doomed, and that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirtied, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. Inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Wednesday, the 24th day of April 2024. By His grace, we're live and we're here. We're at another edition of the show. Our gratitude to go to the Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic. President directs SOEs to submit accounts. CDD proposes shorter timelines for parliamentary polls petition. Weather affects cocoa production in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. The Ghanaian Times. Delays in audited financial statements. Submit 2023 reports to SIGA by May 15. President bears teeth at SOEs. Brawl over increase in transport fares. JB Danko Edu murder case. Kennedy Japan Usu Akufo others subpoenaed. Ghana National Fire Service records 5% increase in fire outbreaks first quarter 2024. Daily Guide. Submit financial reports. Nana orders SOEs. Africa Law Practice, NG & Co. ALA Ghana form new alliance. Transparency needed in assets declaration. Osafumafu. Chief of Staff hails Otumfo. Baumia provides 5,280 dual desks for West Mamprosi schools. And the editor of the Daily Guide says that on our front page yesterday we miscaptioned the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's portrait. We regret the inconvenience the blunder has caused. The New Crusading Guide. New financing model for SHS coming. Dr. Bawumia says initiative will leverage private sector to finance infrastructure. Declaration of assets must not be confidential. Osafumafu. NPP Youth Wing fires up Ashanti region with youth campaign. Consider privatizing the energy sector. Kingsley Osu-Broby advocates. Chief of Staff appeals to Asantini for support in affirmative action bill passage. SHC hands over houses to Ghana Immigration Service in Kumasi. The Insight. 60 million cedis East Legon demolition. NPP financier reveals how the Bawumias and Ramadans ignored Kufuor to pull down apartments. GMA worried over proliferation of new medical schools. Go to court and stop the mudslinging. Then Trahima tells NPP's Obri Bwai. The Ukraine war is lost, but Hollywood and DC don't know it. The Herald. Demand for ECG's Doomsop timetable growing, but Osafumafu collapses NPP propaganda on Rawlins's 1992 constitution, reveals chiefs were against asset declaration. Cocoa Board director owns up to Lithovit fertilizer procurement letters at Opuni Agongo trial. Fremont Parigo's lobbying Otumfo and Asante Queen mothers as NPP running mate announcement draws near. Bawumia meets Pope Francis in Vatican. NDC officially outdoors Opoku Ajiman today. The Informer. Alan fights MPP over prodigal group. I will support private sector to deliver quality education, Bawumia. Ashanti Region ECG Workers Union banned 4 general managers from attending RECSEC meetings. Court orders arrest of Maslok boss. Free SHS policy. Mahama swears to resolve challenges. The Daily Statesman. Akufo-Addo warns state enterprises over delayed reports. Educhum, NPP has progressed beyond manifesto promises. Osafumafu, asset declaration, verification, crucial for accountability. ALA, ALP, NG & Co. for Strategic Corporate Alliance. The Ghanaian Publisher, affirmative action bill, FREMA 6 Otum for support. Bawumia authorizes 5,280 desks for West Mamprosi schools. When I say authorizes, what does that mean? CGCI accuses global cocoa buyers of exploitation. The custodian meeting with Charles. Bawumia finds new funding model for free SHS. Gabi versus Frimpong Boatin, first witness discharged. MCE Lords VIP for providing 5,280 dual desks to 66 schools. Government, IPPs to clinch deal on debt restructuring. DMB visits Vatican and Italy. The new finder, Dr. Mantiao laments unfair treatment of ECG. GRA opens special window for taxpayers to update records. Cost of compliance to new EU rules borders cocoa producers. Submit audited accounts. President Kufuor directs state enterprises. Daily Post. Professor Nana Jane to be outdoor today as Mahama's running mate. Bawa Mokhtari Lords Professor Opoku Ajiman as perfect running mate for Mahama. JB's killer's case. Supin Ken Ejipon as Lausu Akufu. Others to testify. Dumso, Matthew Opoku Prempa has been disrespectful. He should be fired. IES. NDC petitions Speaker Bagbin on missing BVDs at EC. And that's about it for the front pages. We'll be back shortly.
Fortune rice, it's me emu ediane biara. Yansio kakrebi pe, emu no nkikamu. Na ne hwam ne ne dedie. Delicious. Said your mom tie no pepepe. Ya the Fortune emopa abedwaso. Ghana mo a ede. Ma emu ediane nyina.
FDA aje ejedi nkratoa yatum.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of bantama.
Matias.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me Gidi say we use Cal 360 toothpaste. Some me kind.
Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's here. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasa.
Ile hosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
And you will so feeling to when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Customer.
Nada bena minka me papa. Mika 10 Ghana.
10 Ghana.
10 Ghana cities.
Na no dia, send na obenya.
10 Ghana cities no. Me dia. 54,000 Ghana cities.
54,000.
540 million.
Here. We are the one na me ka me di you is kase.
Yeah. Ene na giga ade tena we. Tena wa boki. Draw no na sa afia no we. Ma me nie go no.
Customer! One of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now. Or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
In today's modern world, stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Rise and shine, it's another day to stay on point. Toast is spread, it's still on point. Watch is spread it all day long. Still on point, yes, it's still on point. It's still on point. Watch is spread, it's still on point. For your bread,
it's creamy.
For your toast, it's still on point. It's yummy, delicious. It's still on point. Still on point, yes, it's still on point. It's still on point. It's still on point, yes, it's still on point. It's still on point. For your toast, it's still on point. It's still on point. Fortune spread, it's yummy, delicious. It's still on point.
Fortune spread, delicious, creamy, and always on point. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, what's up?
How far with your internship?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh, please. I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for interns. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
After you're on a line, ting.
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in the office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people. You heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Miss Seth, I'm starting work next month.
We are back bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bet. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the partial daily jackpot. You always get way more with Betway.
This advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Welcome to Elboth West Coast.
Papa is walking.
Bar Herbal Hospital. Specialists in every kind of bone disease.
Bar Herbal Hospital. Baby, a son of a good beer. And so, Yareti Sapa,
spinal cord, swelling of the arms, arthritis, bone injury, swelling of the leg with reddish color around it, and so on. See, Bar Herbal Hospital has special ultra-modern machine for checking up the body. I have tried them and I got good results. Try Bar Herbal Hospital.
The biggest car center in Ghana, offering unparalleled round-the-clock service in autos and accessories. Nadam Autofix is the biggest distributors of used tires in Ghana, offering first-grade second-hand car tires of all rim sizes at both wholesale and retail prices. We are also the leading name in car sensor diagnostics, corrections and sales of car accessories. We excel in car washing and detailing with state-of-the-art steam engine washing machines that keep water away from your engine, ensuring a clean, healthy and responsive engine. Nadam Autofix, the first name in servicing, car accessories and car washing. Visit us today and experience the world of class difference. Find us today at Asoridaho directly opposite Dansoman KFC and the Shell filling station. For more details, you can call us on 0503 244 266 or 0535 339823. Nado Motor Fix. Wukwain Sunyonko Papa.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. With me on the show this morning, I have Kwesi Pratt Jr., who is the managing editor of the Insight newspaper. Kwesi, good morning. Also with me on the show is a government spokesperson, also a member of the Bawumia 2024 campaign, Eric Amwakuchum. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Randy.
Right. Well, if you are looking out for a toothpaste that will take care of the entire family and also save you some money, the recommended family toothpaste is KEL 360 toothpaste, and this toothpaste is approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. KEL 360 toothpaste provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. KEL 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using KEL 360 toothpaste. KEL 360 toothpaste brightens your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mint gives you fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use KEL 360 toothpaste. It is another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso, and is available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 0246 864798. KEL 360 toothpaste. Happy smile. And enjoying the fruits of your labor is as important as enjoying the mansions of your labor. But the pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging irrespective of your age. But worry no more, because lift and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It is affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakuman, or just call them on 0200 535 515 or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movement. Okay. So, let's start off with the electricity situation. Okay. The Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GNCCI, has expressed deep frustration and disappointment at the ongoing power crisis in the country. According to the chamber, the frequent power outages or dooms have brought businesses to their knees, causing significant loss of productivity, revenue, escalating operational costs, and damage to electronic infrastructure. The additional burden of investing in expensive alternative energy sources such as generators, it said, is also crippling businesses financially, leading to both local and multinationals folding up. Quote, "This crisis, which we initially believed to be temporary, has been persisting for far too long, wreaking havoc on businesses. The GNCCI demands immediate action from the government and all stakeholders involved, particularly the Electricity Company of Ghana." It continued that the current power crisis, coupled with the country's current economic crisis, is a double blow that businesses cannot sustain, adding, quote, "We are witnessing the erosion of Ghana's previously notable economic gains, and this is unacceptable. The depreciation of the cedi against foreign currencies, high interest rates, escalating cost of fuel, high inflation, high policy rate, rising public debt, high government expenditure, and the heavy tax burden on businesses, compounded by this power crisis, is an unbearable strain. We are not interested in the blame game. We demand solutions, not excuses. The silence from the government is deafening and unacceptable," it mentioned. the GNCC pointed out that it's time for the government to step up and provide solutions immediately. Additionally, it said the lack of consistency and transparency in the ECG's communication exacerbates this critical matter. Quote, in light of these developments, the GNCC urgently calls upon the government to implement immediate measures to mitigate the impact of the frequent power outages. Alternatively, if such interruptions are unavoidable, a clear and reliable schedule must be provided to enable businesses to plan effectively, fostering a more conducive operational environment. And in a related development, Senior Presidential Advisor Yaosa Fumafu has declared that a decision to publish a load shedding timetable rests with the Energy Minister. He emphasized that only the Energy Minister has authority to order the publication as he oversees the generation. He added that a load shedding timetable can be implemented, quote, to publish the rationing of the power. Nobody can do it except the Minister of Energy because he's seeing the generation and they, ECG, are looking at the utilization. So they can look at it and say that in this particular area, this is how it should be done. But it is something that can be done because it is what you have and what you have to use and spread it. And he said this on the sidelines of a forum on open government partnership and construction sector transparency in Accra. Now, Kwesi, it is pretty obvious that we've gone past a blip. We've gone past just some intermittent outage, some random thing. It is consistent, it is regular. First of all, we are not being told the truth about it. I don't know if you watched Good Morning Ghana yesterday. Yesterday, the truth became evident here, where we are and what the issue is. So we've not been candid about it. We've been lied to throughout the process. So at this point, really, there are two options. Either you solve the problem, or if it is not a problem that can be solved immediately, you provide a timetable to help people plan their lives. How difficult is this?
Well, to be honest with you, I just can't understand what is happening. You know, it's extremely difficult to understand, especially when you listen to people in government, especially those who have responsibility for dealing with the problem. I mean, I was so very astonished when I heard a minister explain that this Dumso is better than the Muhammad Dumso. So, my goodness, is this where we have come to? That we voted for a government to come and give us a better Dumso. How can any Dumso be better? I mean, incredible. But this is how our elected leaders are talking to us. Total disrespect. They are not mindful of their responsibilities. You know, they are talking to us like they are grandchildren. You know, even grandchildren need to be respected. But this is their response. Now, as I sit here, I cannot put my finger on the cause of this situation. It's difficult.
Yesterday on this program, I had Dr. Baumias, the chair of the Manifesto Committee on Energy here, and the chair of the NDC's Manifesto Committee on Energy, John Jinapo, here. So Nana Mensafua and John Jinapo was here. They were here. Now, they both agreed that we have a problem with acquisition of fuel to power plants because the data shows that we have 5,500 megawatts. Now, assuming that there is a maintenance and some other things, and for that reason, even 1,000 megawatts is off, it still leaves you with 4,500. Peak demand is about 3,800. Let's put it at 4,000. So what it means is that with your 5,500, even if 1,000 is off as a result of maintenance and many other things, that's not even the case. But even assuming that 1,000 megawatts are off for routine maintenance and everything, you still have 4,500. Your peak demand is 3.8. You can push it to 4,000, which even leaves you with a reserve of 500. And so, if you have GridCo telling you that this week you should shed off 500 megawatts and all that, the cause is obvious. There are plants that are operational, that are okay, but the fuels needed to power them are not available because government simply cannot afford. And according to the Honorable Jinapo, which was not disputed, Parliament brought all the players to Alisa. You remember that the Honorable Atachia demanded for a timetable after the issue. And all of them agreed. So all of them made presentations. The ministry itself, Energy Commission, GridCo, ECG, VRA, all of them, NETCO, all of them. And the conclusion was that the plants are there to provide electricity. But government does not have the money to purchase the fuels needed to power these plants. And that is why we are where we are.
Yeah, Randy, unfortunately, I've heard this explanation before. And I heard it from John Jinapo months ago. But persistently, it's denied. Anytime this
it says now the meeting, which was recorded, and all of them made their presentations, that was the agreement. And President Safwa did not disagree. All he said was that they have a strategy coming up.
From here?
Yes.
Go and put a microphone in front of the Minister of Energy. He will deny. That's the point I'm making. Because all of us know that when it comes to capacity, we have long exceeded the capacity that we need. In fact, by the time John Mahama's administration left office, we had exceeded the capacity. In fact, they themselves, when they came into office, complained about excess capacity and said that we were paying for excess capacity and it was not healthy for the economy. So we know that capacity is not the problem. But they will deny it. Anytime you put a microphone in front of them, they deny it. You understand? And for me, the worst thing is this thing about, our Doomsaw is better than the Doomsaw before. Doomsaw better. It's incredible, you know. Everybody, including industry, people in industry and in commerce and so on, and ordinary citizens have been calling for a timetable. That timetable is not being provided. So this whole power outages has become erratic, completely erratic. So in addition to the fact that, the power is not available to consumers and so on, we have a situation where people's appliances and so on are getting destroyed, recklessly destroyed. The number of fridges, the number of television sets and so on which are getting destroyed, it's amazing. Now in industry, it's even worse because huge expensive machines are getting destroyed. I don't know what has happened at Metro TV. Maybe you have a standby generator and you have an automatic switch and so on. But if you go to the radio and television stations, many people's equipment are getting destroyed as a result of this clear case of mismanagement. I mean, the non-provision of a timetable is a clear case of mismanagement. You understand? And then in the midst of all of this, you find the PURC and other state institutions coming up with gibberish. Yesterday, I read a statement which said that if you extend electricity to your home or workplace and you buy your own poles and so on, there will be a refund of up to 60%. Is that what we need now? The power is not even there. You understand? So we want a focus on the resolution of the concrete problem that confronts us today, and it doesn't appear that there's any insight. Now, I believe the explanation which has been offered by John Jinapo and others that the real cause of the problem may be the fact that we don't have, funds to purchase the fuels. But you see, listen to the finance minister. I think 2 days ago and so made a fantastic statement about how the economy is an evil kill and things are fine and so on. And then they are quoting inflation figures and so on. The point is that for a very long time we've not been paying our debts.
Crazy?
Yes, sir.
Crazy?
Yes, sir.
Just with this electricity situation, the government itself agreed to pay 200 million Ghana cedis for MDAs and all that, their consumption every month. From August of last year, government has not been able, and this is what government must pay to the cash waterfall mechanism, that 200 million cedis a month from August till today, they've not been able to pay one cedi.
But Randy, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We are told that the economy is recovering and so on. And yet, even at the time when we are not paying the debts which have accrued, we can't make payments for electricity, we can't make payments for nothing. So how did the economy improve? How did the economy improve? When we start paying the debt, what will be the real figures, the real figures? So, look, I think that we need to do something more radical. We need to do something very seriously and very soon in order to address these difficulties that we have. Of course, the independent power producers are still complaining about the amounts which are owed to them and so on. So even if you're able to bring in fuel to power the machines and so on, that will be another problem waiting to explode in our faces and so on. It is time to open up so that everybody, all citizens who have the knowledge and the skills and so on, can make a contribution to the national discussion on how to resolve the fundamental problem, which is economic. The fundamental problem is economic. Because the way we are going, I wonder where we will go. We are doing this approach. The approach we have is that, there's a crisis in electricity. We focus attention, stop everything, solve that problem in electricity, and then the problem emerges in health. Then you stop everything, fire brigade approach. You rush there, you tamper with the problem and so on, and then the crisis emerges at another place. Then we rush there and so on. This is the fire brigade approach. You don't deal with the national economy with a fire brigade strategy. And I am very, very disappointed about the way we have handled this do-solve problem. I'm really very disappointed,
Eric, you have some answers for us?
To start with, good morning to you and good morning to Kessie, and then also the viewers of Good Morning Ghana.
Yeah.
Randy, incidentally, it happens to, I think I've been on this platform for 10 years. I was just checking my 10 good years.
Congratulations.
Yes, my very first appearance was with the Honorable Ablakwa. At the time, I think it was a Deputy Minister of Information.
Well done, congratulations.
It means that I'm close to becoming a veteran.
Yeah,
this
has done 22 years.
Exactly, so I have a lot more to go.
But well done. 10 years is no mean a feat.
I know, I know.
Especially in these difficult times.
I mean, to man up and show up is not easy.
Yeah, so next time I come, please give me a cake, a 10-year cake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I acknowledge the frustration for the consumer, either it's domestic or commercial, and even industry where you need constant supply of power to plan, forecast, and then do whatever it is that you need to do. And so I'm not one of those people who would sort of try and downplay the effect of having intermittent power outages and its impact, even on the overall standard of living, and then even for industry and even the quest for development. I always like to contextualize this conversation in the bigger scheme of things, in how far we have come. I also acknowledge that there are challenges. I mean, these are things that nobody would be able to, brush somewhere. So mostly when it comes to this conversation, I like the angle that Kwesi took, where it looks as if that we can have all these conversations, but if we don't really delve into the real issues and then also find lasting solutions for the challenges that we face in this energy space, we will fix this one. 5 years' time, we'll come back and we'll be talking about the same issues again, just because of not having a long-term strategic plan for the sector. And for me, that's why every time this conversation comes up, I look at it from a forward-looking perspective. And that's why I like Dr. Baumere's proposition that it's about time that we actually also maybe front-load the expenditure in the energy sector and invest in renewable energy, i.e. solar and wind. And then, of course, even there's this whole conversation around improving and enhancing our nuclear power sector as well, so that at least we'll have a different mix of energy supply sources. And so this whole conversation around really if we have money to buy fuel to fuel the generating capacity that we have will not be something that we'll be grappling with. And of course, as a country, whilst we have even this whole grand idea to industrialize and produce our raw materials for export, then it means that we will still have to even increase the current generation capacity that we have, so that industry will be able to take advantage of that. And with the aspect of economies of scale, once you have all these different sources of energy, then of course even the cost of the generation becomes lower, and we'll be able to support industry to grow. I know people have called for a timetable. As far as I'm concerned, that is a decision that needs to be taken by either ECG and then to a certain degree by the ministry, especially if they deem that, as we speak, there's the need for that timetable to happen. What I've witnessed as well is that there's a certain sporadic nature of it. And so I'm not even too sure if, for example, if it goes on for an hour or half an hour, there's enough time to even anticipate that and for you to give a timetable. But if, for one reason or the other, the ECG is aware that tomorrow or the day after, there are going to be some maintenance work in these places, or these things are going to go off, then I'm sure that what they have done consistently is what they should go by actually providing some kind of timetable for these individuals.
This week, the Great Co has informed ECG that for this week, 500 megawatts will not be available during peak time. What more notice?
Yeah, but Randy, I think I'm making the same point, that, I mean, even in the midst of all of these things, every now and then you'd hear and you'd see some communication from ECG saying that some specific areas will go over at a certain point in time.
You know, all they do is that, yes,
yeah, and so
they just tell you that this has happened here, so your light will be off. As and when we receive light, we will restore you. That's not a timetable.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That, I mean, I think we're saying the same thing. I'm saying that even as we speak,
the key thing is that we are now told that the issue of a timetable is a decision that goes beyond ECG. That ECG by itself does not issue a timetable, and that a timetable can only be authorized by the sector ministry. That's government. So even if ECG, from a functional management point of view and all that, believes that, look, there's a need for a timetable, it can only do so if it is authorized by the ministry.
No, Randy, I agree with you. And I'm saying that even in the current circumstances, at this current state, there are times where you would either hear...
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you understand. You would hear announcements on radio and even sometimes in the newspapers, you read that there are certain places that are going off. And I think that as we speak, I mean, with the frustration of people, the challenges that comes to people in even the commercial space and industry, even if that is the case, then as we speak, they need to be able to make sure that these persons are given enough notice so that they will be able to plan properly. But then, like I said, we can have this conversation, and like Kwesi is saying, it looks like it needs a certain grand plan overall to be able to move away from this whole every 3, 4, 5 years we have some of these challenges and then we have to deal with it. As we speak, there are other energy sources that we can use and apply. Over a period, for me, I always feel that even if we had done this maybe 20, 30 years ago and decided that at every budget reading we are going to invest a certain percentage of or a fraction of whatever we are investing in the energy space in supporting the renewable energy space, would have made headway. Or even new build, for example. All of these new government infrastructure that is built, and new schools and new hospitals and all of those things. You would think that we would have a certain comprehensive plan to make sure that most of these entities, by virtue of how large they are going to be, would actually be off the grid. And we will have enough to be able to feed into the grid. So that you have like a grand plan over a certain period of time that if these entities, take an institution like University of Ghana, for example, imagine how many people actually are in that place on a daily basis and the sort of energy sources that you can actually use when you're forward thinking. And I believe that, especially when it comes to the political space, and you spoke about 2 major political parties in terms of their energy manifesto committees, right? We should be looking at progressive ways, forward thinking, trying to even adopt best practices in this space so that at least the Ghanaian people will know that we are not going to be coming back within a few years to be having this conversation. And then we should commit to it. So sometimes there's all this conversation about policy decisions and even manifesto promises that are made. And over the period, either we veer off totally or there's absolutely no implementation of those policies. And I think that as the 2 major political parties, and I will take the NPP as an example, we should see this promise that has been made by the flag bearer as a social contract. And if it happens that any political party has a manifesto in that regard or even policy propositions in that regard, we should see those things as social contracts. That should be adhered to. And then, Randy, people like you, I think that you are like a walking archive and encyclopedia when it comes to some of these things. That let's hold these policy decisions, people fire to their feet, so that we will know that you said you're going to do A, B, C, D, you're unable to do that. But when it comes to the politics of it, and I've heard people talk about all these promises that have been made and who is better than who and all of those things. But in the final analysis, even as a consumer, the consumer really doesn't care much. All that he wants is making sure that when he flicks the switch, the lights come on. He's able to warm his food. He's able to put stuff in his refrigerator. If you're a business owner, you want to make sure that you get to work, you'll be able to find electricity to be able to work. There are so many other variables that are actually connected to electricity. For example, companies that use data, for example. If the lights are off, your Wi-Fi is off, right? And so these are things that, for me, I think that are important so that we can be having proper conversation around that space. And even issues to do with funding the energy sector. And I'm sure every time this conversation has come up, I've said severally that I think that you have to be able to copy with pride. I used to work for an institution that says that you copy with pride. There's nothing wrong with copying, you understand? Saying that, okay, what are the best practices elsewhere? This whole conversation about state ownership and all of those things, the arguments are there. I know that Kwesi will probably disagree with me. But in terms of best practices and what other nations have done, right? You take the UK, for example, you take the US and other countries. They realize that you need investment in the energy space. They've actually listed most of these energy companies on the stock market, right? And people own these stocks. They have a proper board structure in place, they have a management structure in place, and they have accountability by virtue of even just listing on the stock market, right? These are the best practices. So we can kid ourselves that we can do our things in the same way and expect different results. And this conversation, I think that we've even come to issues to do with PDS and the aftermath and all of those things. And because we had challenges with PDS as an entity, all of a sudden, something that we actually envisaged maybe 15, 20 years ago, we've actually gone back to the same MO, right? And we're facing the same challenges.
Eric, essentially, I don't disagree with the proposals that you're making. However, unlike the 2007, 2008 Dumso-Kufuor era and the 2013, 2015 Dumso under JM, where under Kufuor, as temporary relief, he had to bring in those machines that were described as toy machines. I hope you remember, which even led to a probe and all that. And then the GM era, where obviously our over-reliance, I mean, we didn't learn from the 2007, 2008, our over-reliance on hydro, I mean, exposed us once again. And therefore, we had to ramp up capacity.
There's a pressure.
Okay. In our current instance, our current situation, it is not an issue of capacity. It is not that Akosombo has dried up, Bui water sources have dried up, and we do not have enough non-hydro to provide us electricity. In fact, it appears that we have learned from those lessons and we have ramped up our non-hydro sources. So we are not in the situation that we were in 2007, 2008, and then 2013, 2015. We are not there. You understand? Now, we also, this issue of energy sector indebtedness is what led to ESLA. Now, we owed, at least when government took over, the ESLA debt, as announced by the then finance minister to Parliament, was about 9 billion cedis. Now, as we speak, we have collected 33 billion from ESLA. 33 billion. The ESLA debt that we sought to pay off with the ESLA debt is now 17 billion. So we have not retired the debt. The debt has grown from 9 billion to 17 billion. Yet we have collected 33 billion from ESLA. So the reason for which the levy was instituted by the previous government, we have used the money, you can say misapplied the money, for things other than what it was meant for. In addition to this government has also introduced an energy sector recovery levy, ESRL, which is also raking in money. But that one, unlike ESLA, which went to Parliament and others, and therefore you are mandated to publish the receipts and disbursement and all that. This ESRL did not come in like an ESLA. It just came in like one of those things that the finance minister brought. So we don't even have any accounts for the ESRL. But I'm saying that in addition to ESLA, this government has introduced ESRL, which has also raked in money. Yet, as we speak today, the indebtedness to IPPs is at $1.9 billion. We are where we are because government is not in a position to buy fuels to power these plants. So I tell you that, and if you take ECG, as at end year 2016, ECG's losses, technical and commercial, put together was 22%, and it's documented. Today, their losses have exceeded 30%. So we've added a 10 percentage point in terms of ECG's technical and commercial losses. So that's what I mean by, I don't disagree with all the things that you have said. Renewable energy, all those things that we must do. But the key issue is that what is facing us today is not what will be solved by those things. What is facing us today is because of what we have done ourselves. So if you bring an extra levy and you say that it is an extra Ghanaians, we all did not pay realistic prices and everything, debt has built up. So we are bringing in a levy to pay for those debts. You collect 33 billion from the levy as we speak today. Yet the 9 billion has grown to 17 billion. How come? You bring in another energy sector recovery levy in addition to ESLA. That one, we don't know how much you have collected so far and what has happened to that money. Yet, this thing keeps piling up. And like I said, government has even not been able to pay its bills to the ECG from, I'm told from August, about the 200 million cedis they were to pay into the cash waterfalls for MMDAs. It's not been done. So you realize that the situation that we find ourselves in today is self-inflicted, is as a result of our own actions, the actions of government, as far as this space is concerned. And so even if we do all those things and we do not deal with these issues, because somebody should be answering why you have collected 33 billion as for ESLA, and yet the ESLA debt has moved from 9 billion to 17 billion.
Randy, so I mean, starting from where you ended in regards to the technical and commercial losses, for example, and that is why, this conversation probably goes deeper than a mere government's inability, or so-called, to do anything, whereby you have an entity, any entity at all, that has this amount of magnitude of losses and is still supposed to be effective and efficient and provide the kind of services that we all
But that's government's job. It's government's job to make it efficient.
No, I agree.
Or discard it if it's not fit for purpose.
No, I agree. And you also have a situation where the structure itself, where all these entities, apart from the IPPs, are actually entities that are 100% owned by the state. Right? And I'm saying that whilst we can look at immediate steps to actually forestall this current challenge, what are the things that needs to be done? We need to have this, conversation to a point where, for example, you want to even pay for the real cost of electricity. But for anybody to even accept to do that, then you're looking from a perspective of, okay, ECG as an entity is actually fit for purpose and is able to collect whatever revenues that's actually supposed to be accruing to them. And then you can have that conversation whereby you can say, okay, for efficiency's sake, entities within the public sector like your hospitals, your colibus, and all of these regional hospitals and schools and other state installations would be able to benefit from electricity supply because there's a certain existence of, let's say you're saying ESLA or whatever, to be able to support the particular sector in terms of revenues. And so for me, we can continue having this conversation, but as far as I'm concerned, let's get to the point where after these initial challenges that we are facing, we'll be able to have a comprehensive plan, even as a government. And I will go back to what is being proposed for the future in terms of the energy space. And then let's bring all the various players. And I like the call for persons who have expertise in that space to be given a certain platform to be able to prefer these opinions and strategies so that we can actually have a comprehensive energy plan going forward. So for example, for a very long time, even a sector like the nuclear power was not even something that we were considering based on what you like, international relation considerations. But I believe strongly that as a sovereign country, we should have every right to be able to apply whatever energy sources that we want, to be able to make the Ghanaian people prosper and develop to the heights of those other countries. Right? So I think that it requires some bold leadership for that to happen, for us to be able to come to that point and say that these are the things that is required. This is what we need as a people to be able to survive even the current global challenges that we are facing. But without energy, so for example, I mean, it dovetails into our conversation about having an integrated iron ore industry. You have bauxite, you have iron ore, you have manganese, you have all of these things. Now, for you to be able to even add value, then it means that even the current generation capacity that we have is not enough. And so sometimes these public policy positions that are taken has to have some synergistic effect. So you can't necessarily create, let's say, an aluminium industry without having enough generation capacity, enough power to do so, right? So that at least the various sectors and the various ministries are actually talking to themselves when it comes to public policy positions. So at least there's some coherence. You understand where I'm coming from. So yes, like I admitted earlier, it is frustrating for anybody. I'm a consumer. I mean, if you're home in the middle of the night and the lights go off, it's frustrating, you know. And I mean, I know that in earnest, things are being done to forestall those issues. But I think that looking forward and going into the future, we need to have these policy conversations.
The issue of the history of the energy crisis has come up now. And I think it's important that we get the history right. After the 1966 coup against Nkrumah, the government then brought in a British expert who insisted that we didn't need to expand capacity. Okay? Now, at the time, the Soviet Union has sent experts to build the Bui Dam. They were actually on site, and so we stopped that project. The Soviet experts went back home. That is why the Bui Dam delayed all this time because of the advice of this guy. I've forgotten his name. I think it was, his name ends with a Croft, you know. So we stopped the Bui Dam project. Now, if you look at the 7-year development plan of the Nkrumah regime, it proposed mini hydro projects across the country. That was also stopped. We've never done it after today. It was stopped, completely stopped. You understand? At the time, we were also seriously considering the nuclear option for power generation and had actually entered into an agreement with the Soviet Union. That was also stopped on the advice of a so-called British energy expert. That is where our problems began. And in fact, the problems in the energy sector, some think that it was caused by the Kufuor administration. It's not true. The crisis was already there, you know, before Kufuor came to
power. It only
hit
us.
It only hit us during the Kufuor regime. And in fact, we were very lucky to have had a government with foresight, like the Achampong government, which did a number of generation plans and so on before the Kufuor era. Otherwise, the problem would have been much more severe in the Kufuor era. The problem started with the overthrow of Nkrumah. Now,
it was during President Rawlings's time that Mr. Tuahoe, as Secretary of Power, at that time they were secretary, right? Where the T1, T2, and others were done, the non-hydro plants. Yeah.
Now, the solutions you are giving us cannot work. They won't work. You understand?
Why?
Because that is not the problem he's addressing.
Okay, but that's futuristic.
No problem. The real problem we have now
is
that based on government's own figures, we are spending 128% of total national revenue on debt repayment, debt servicing, and public sector emoluments.
Okay.
There's no money to do anything.
It's lower now because of the debt restructuring.
Yeah, because that's why I looked at the... Okay.
So all the things that you're talking about, how are we going to find the money to finance them? In fact, today, if you want to build gutter, is that how they call it?
Yes.
Gutter.
Yes, on the streets. That's how you call
gutter. Gutter self we can't build. So that is the problem.
You know what you said?
Yeah.
On the sidelines of the spring meeting of the World Bank and IMF, the finance minister was asked about all these energy things, and he talks about the fact that they are engaging the IPPs for a debt restructuring plan. Probably next month they will have that plan. Then he hints that we're also working with the World Bank to provide some meters, 1 million meters for us.
You see, so the problem is deep, really deep. I mean, this is a manifestation of a deliberate mismanagement of the national economy. Deliberate. Taking loans left, right, and center. When we are taking loans, you must be looking at your capacity to pay.
Otherwise, how do you collect 33 billion in the name of ESLA? At the time when you said the thing was 9 billion, you were going to float bonds or whatever to retire. You did about 5 billion. And you were just paying interest and left the principal. The others, principal plus interest, were growing. As we speak, you have collected 33 billion from ESLA. The energy sector debt, has moved from the 9 billion to 17 billion. What explains that? You have added energy sector recovery levy, ESRL, to ESLA. As for that one, we don't know how much you have raked in. And yet we have this situation. What explains it?
So, the sensible solution, realistic solution, is to treat what is happening as a manifestation of economic malaise. What do we do with the national economy so that we can generate enough resources to cater for our needs? That's the fundamental question before us now. How come that a country as rich as Ghana, potentially rich as Ghana, is unable to meet its obligations to its citizens? This is the fundamental question. You cannot isolate energy. It is the whole pack. And you know, I don't like doing what a lot of people like to do, going back to earlier manifesto promises and what politicians said in the past and so on. It's not a solution. That is finding where to put the blame. But even when we have found where to put the blame, the problem must be solved. So I'm not going to do that, what people said and so on. Of course, now everybody knows that what they said, had no meaning, just platform talk to catch votes and so on. But we have a fundamental economic problem that needs to be addressed. Many solutions have been provided and so on. I don't think anybody is working with them. Because if you go to the IMF and the World Bank, it means, first and foremost, you don't even understand the problem. And you have no intention of solving the problem. Because what the World Bank and the IMF provides is not a solution. It's just to give you some little cushion to play around for a few years. The problem will hit you again. You understand? So now we are in this crisis. Industry is affected. And according to the industry insiders, some industries are actually collapsing. We have this massive unemployment problem. And if you have a massive unemployment problem and industries start collapsing and so on, it means that the situation is getting exacerbated and all. Let us admit the facts. That this is where we are, these are the facts. Let us all work to find a solution to the problem. This populist, childish, retort that our doomsaw is better than the doomsaw previously, we shouldn't hear it again. It's so annoying. So very annoying. I mean, I don't think that anybody expects to hear that again from anybody. We have made you ministers and so on, chief executives and so on, to solve our problems. Don't come and tell us about a better Doomso. Doomso can never be better.
Anyway, we'll be back shortly.
Vital has sachets and in different sizes too. You didn't know? These Vital sachets that we all use to fry our meat and fishes, to prepare our favorite meals, and to refill our empty original Vital bottles. Hey! Are you sure you are a fellow Ghanaian?
Get your trusted Vital sachets today for affordability, convenience, and for the refilling of your original Vital bottle.
Vital, you deserve a life of goodness. This advert is FDA approved.
Introducing the new Jamal washing powder with multi-enzymes that helps remove stubborn stains.
It has a nice fragrance. Not harsh on my hands. Foams easily. And removes stains well.
Oh, I still to be.
Ma, he brought 5 big sachets of new Jamal washing powder.
Yes, ma.
It really removes stains. It has a nice fragrance.
Yes, ma.
Then add 30 sacks of Jamal washing powder to your engagement list.
Hey, ma.
Jamal. Yes, ma.
New Jamal washing powder for cleaner, fresher wash. Your partner for clean clothes. This advert is FDA approved.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
Prepare bantama.
Machasi. It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me, Jidi said we used to Kel 360 toothpaste. Some kind.
Kel 360 toothpaste.
Just here, Kel 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector.
Kel 360 did the way.
It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will so feeling to Kel 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Kel 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
In today's modern world, stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
We are back, bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two, with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bet. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the partial Daily Jackpot. you always get way more with Betway.
This advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway.
Rice. It's me emu ediane biara. Yansio kakre bipe. Emu no nkikamu. Na ne hwam ne dedie. Delicious. Said your mama tie no pepepe. Ye the fortune emopa abedwaso. Ghana mo ede. Ma emu ediane nyina.
FDA aje ejidie nkratoa yatum.
All right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show this morning, I have Kwesi Pratt Jr. and Eric Amwakuchum. But what does wealth mean to you? Do you want to live like a tycoon? Remember, I was Go the Mola, Go the Power. Ghana's newest lottery game draws live on Adom TV at 9 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. daily. Now pick up your phones, tablets, and computers and download the Game Park Games app on Play Store. You can also play on the website at www.gameparkgames.com or by dialing *946# on all networks. Just choose 4 numbers from 0 to 9. It's easy to play and easy to win. Charlie could play this game and make some mola. Nobody beats our odds in Ghana. Game Park Games, more mola, more power. This game is regulated by the National Lottery Authority and is not for persons under 18. Play responsibly. Ayesoko, that Kosombo dam be big, but Betway's cash out be bigger. Betway is giving you more control over every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and most reliable cash out in Ghana on Betway without any hassle. Sign up today at betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. It's not for persons under 18 and is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more. And Blue Jeans energy drink has been on the Ghanaian market for over 20 years. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and energy as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested and tried. It's indeed the best. Blue Jeans energy drink is for bold and active men and women. So go on, grab a cold can and power your day. It's in shops nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190 or 055 001 0000. All right. Just before we move on, today happens to be the birthday of at least two people that we all know. So the first one is a former chief of staff and a former cabinet minister, a former CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority. Yes. And today is his birthday, Mr. Julius Deborah. Today is his birthday. So happy birthday to you, the Honorable Julius Deborah, former chief of staff of the Republic of Ghana. I'm told he's 58 today. So
young man.
So happy 58th birthday
He's
to
a young
you.
man.
Yes, I mean, you can say that.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Chief, to you. Today is also the birthday of a big brother of mine. I learned a lot from him. He's a planner by profession, and many people also call him a diplomat because he's been working in the diplomatic community for over a decade. He's a former vice president of the Ghana Football Association and, of course, was the chairman of Black Stars when we qualified for the World Cup. And he's achieved a lot, also even as a director of Accra Great Olympics and all that. Mr. Fred Papo, today is his birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. Fred Papo, popularly known as Papse. So happy birthday to you.
as well. All right. So, gentlemen, there's something that we keep talking about, yet it appears that we do nothing about. Anytime there's talk about corruption, holding public service personnel and people who hold public office accountable, it comes up every day. We talk and talk and talk and talk, and nothing comes up. And this has to do with asset declaration. It's come up again because a person who's been a minister, a senior minister before, is also spoken about it. Now, Senior Presidential Advisor Osafuma, this is on page 3 of the Daily Guide, and the story is filed by Ernest Kofi Addo, has stated that transparency is needed in the declaration of assets owned by public officials. According to him, the current asset declaration regime remains opaque, with declared assets kept confidential between the Auditor General and the assetter. During a forum on open government, partnerships and transparency in Accra, Mr. Osafuma denounced the Public Office Holders Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act 1998, Act 550, stating that he had never liked it. Quote, in Ghana, when you become a Minister of State or a public sector worker at certain levels, the first thing you do is to declare your assets and file the same to the Auditor General. What I personally don't like about this law is that after you declare your assets, everything is kept confidential between the Auditor General and yourself. Therefore, it becomes difficult for anybody to challenge the authenticity of the declaration. He highlighted underpinning cultural and societal norms surrounding inheritance, which he claimed caused individuals to resist the transparency during the formulation of Act 550. He stated that while he supports asset declaration, there should be some amount of transparency in the arrangement so that the public may access it. Quote, I happened to be consulting for somebody when we were drawing up the Constitution of the Republic, and I was championing the publication of the assets declared. And the chiefs were so furious with me and said they would be killed when people knew what they had. But why must a chief be worried about that? Okay. He said the time is right for asset declaration by public officials to be made public, as the opaque regime is not helping accountability and open governance. Article 2861 of the 92 Constitution states that a person who holds a public office, mentioned in Clause 5 of this article, shall submit to the Auditor General a written declaration of all property or assets owned by or liabilities owed by him, whether directly or indirectly. End of quote. Transparency needed in asset declaration. How long are we going to speak about this?
Randy, I think it
is now voluntary. Yeah. So I know that there are some who make public the declaration of the assets. I remember in the 2012, 2016 elections, President Mahama, Dr. Papaku Syndrome, and I think one more, they made their the declaration public, but it's voluntary. All right. Now, a lot of people have said that even the process to access this, you must either go to court for the court to grant you permission, or if it is the SRAJ, and the SRAJ then demands for it and all that. And so the people hold a view that what's the point in making a declaration when it cannot be accessed? There are those who have reasons why they think that making a public declaration also creates problems for whoever has made a declaration. Then there's a counter thing that then in that case don't come close to the public service, because there are also reasons why we want that public declaration. And so if you have those fears, then don't come.
Randy, I mean, even on the lighter note, your tithes at church would even be scrutinized.
My assets are not my monthly earnings.
But it's part of your if you're able to acquire all of these.
But why will you lie to God about your tithes?
But that, see, I'm just using
you can lie to man, but not to God.
On the lighter note.
Okay.
Right. But the truth of the matter is that even the public declaration is not far-reaching enough.
Okay.
And sometimes, it sounds a bit controversial, but sometimes we almost create this impression that, especially the political elite, the class, are actually the only people who are probably looting the state or are part of a certain, if you like, grand scheme.
But I know, interestingly, this does not refer to only political officials.
Exactly. I'm coming there. And so again, I'll say that, how do we apply these things comprehensively enough to ensure that people who find themselves in public office at any level are actually within a certain system that these things can be tracked? You get my point? Because at the end of the day, how many politicians, for example, do we have? If you go to any public sector institution, give and take, you'll find one minister, substantive minister, and then a deputy minister. And the rest of the people, everybody else is actually, in that particular public space, is actually not a political appointee, save a couple of other people, right? So we can play ostrich, we can play politics with this thing, but I think that it requires a total overhaul of our even national administration when it comes to things like this. For example, if in other jurisdictions, if somebody was driving a Rolls Royce on the streets of, let's say, London or wherever, or Zurich or wherever, it can be the case that the tax authorities would actually invite them. You get my point? So that you'll be able to undergo what they call like a lifestyle audit to ascertain.
But it's in our laws here.
But that is my point.
But people are invited all the time.
Yeah,
they write to people, high net worth.
Yeah,
you come, they invite you to the office. They do that.
It has to be a bit more far-reaching.
Yeah, they do that.
You understand? But you see, we have a certain cultural challenge as well, where people would actually resist, a more, if you like, comprehensive approach to some of these things. So you can have a public official somewhere who, by dint of what we all know, that is being paid 7,000, 5,000, 6,000 Ghana cedis, yet owns mansions. And then the point is that you are not able to actually ascertain how they came about all of these assets and resources. Right? So we have to be a bit more far-reaching when we actually want to do this. I like the idea that, as unpopular as it may be, I like the idea that these asset declarations should be made public and should be put in a repository somewhere that people can actually have access to. That is on a need-to-know basis, rather than maybe just publishing a newspaper or whatever. But even if there's basically nothing to hide, I believe strongly that you can publish. In the recent Senegalese elections, the current president is on public record to have actually published his assets, you understand, in their national newspapers. And maybe that is where we have to go. And I know that maybe it will not really sit well with a lot of people. But if really we are being transparent, and that's what we want to arrive at as a people, then should be more far-reaching. But it will require different facets of our administration to be able to look at this thing from that particular perspective. So that even if it's not because you are acquiring these things through foul means, then the requisite taxes should be applied. You should be able to, if you're driving a Lamborghini in Accra, then you have to pay the commensurate taxes that come with that, because that is what applies in other jurisdictions, right? And so we cannot pick and choose certain aspects of, let's say, a good governance if it doesn't, support our lifestyle. But then in certain instances, we are asking for good governance and always make reference to, when you go to this jurisdiction, this and this and this are the things that are working. In our parts of the world, it doesn't seem to work. And not also avail yourself to the strict dictates of that kind of governance, right? So for me, I think that, that's a call in the right direction. We've been having this conversation for a very, very long time. And it's about time that we're able to apply some kind of principle in this conversation. And sometimes it would actually cure the mischief. Because there are persons who come to public office and are already made. However, by dint of the fact that they end up in public service, there are all sorts of aspersions and insinuations and all sorts of speculations that are made because the public are not aware of what their net worth is and what it is that they have as assets. And that's, you can't pick and choose. So if you're coming into the public space, then expect that there will be some scrutiny. I mean, those are some of the realities on the ground. You have to be able to expose yourself to public scrutiny and apply same.
Okay, so okay, pardon me for laughing, but there's a press release signed by Eugene Ayin, the communications director of the presidency, and as President Akufo-Addo acts on KPMG findings and recommendations on the transactions between GRA and SML. Okay, it's quite a lengthy one, but let me try. I'll try and go through it. But let me hear you on asset declaration, then we can move on to that.
So there's more, with the declaration of assets by public officers, than just the fact that it is not disclosed. There's a lot more. And this debate has been raging, as far as I can remember, from 1991 thereabouts, when the Constitution was being drafted. There's another issue of whether public office holders, their spouses, should also declare their assets.
Yes.
Now, Randy, this is it. I recall that in 1992, the New Patriotic Party was wild, insisting that if they came to power, they would change the asset declaration regime. They came to power and they did nothing about the asset declaration regime. The NDC went into opposition and made the same promise. They came to power, they did nothing about the asset declaration regime. It was still raised, and the hope was that when the Akufo-Addo government came to power, it would do something about the asset declaration regime. As of now, after 7 years, nothing has been done. So it's interesting that somebody like Mr. Osafo-Mafu is the one complaining now. You understand? Having been finance minister for a long period and having served as the senior minister and so on, he's complaining. And it's interesting. There are many people who think that the asset declaration regime is important because at least it will help the public make a determination as to whether people have excessively acquired assets while in office and provide the basis, for looking into their assets and so on. I have nothing more to say. If the politicians were to keep their words, we would have had a different asset declaration regime right now. None of them, those who have been in power, none of them have kept their word. That's all.
Because it doesn't mean that you agree to the public declaration, irrespective of the.
But I've said so many times.
Those who are opposed to it have also raised issues that the public disclosure also,
Maza, when people are in opposition, they say something different. When they get into government, they say something different. That is the reality of what is facing us. What is the value of assets declaration if it's secret? It has no value. Secret assets declaration is of no value. So I insist that it should be public.
All right. So would look at this report that I've just received, and so it says for immediate release, President Akufo-Addo acts on KPMG's findings and recommendations on transactions between GRA and SML. And the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, on Wednesday, 27 March 2024, received the final report of the audit conducted by KPMG regarding the transactions between the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML. The President has acted on the findings and recommendations of KPMG and has by letter dated Thursday, 18th April 2024, given directives to the Ministry of Finance and the Ghana Revenue Authority. KPMG made the following findings. No technical needs assessment was done prior to the engagement of SML. However, such an assessment was not legally required for engaging SML. After SML was engaged, a Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors Industry report, a 2021 Ernst & Young audit report, commissioned by GR, and a report by the Revenue Assurance and Compliance Enforcement of the Ministry of Finance all found that there might be underreporting, underdeclaration, and potential revenue leakages. On 3 occasions, between June 2017 and September 2017, GRA sought approval from the PPA to use the single source procurement method to engage SML to provide transaction audit services. PPA did not grant approval. Subsequently, GRA engaged SML as a subcontractor to West Blue, which was already providing services to GRA at the port. SML eventually took over the services provided by West Blue. When the latter's contract came to an end on 31st December 2018, GRA then added external price verification to the services offered by SML and signed a downstream petroleum audit agreement with SML. All these were done without PPA approval. Following a change of leadership at GRA, the new leadership sought to regularize the contract with SML, and on 27th August 2020, PPA ratified the procurement processes used to engage SML. In 2023, the Ministry of Finance, GRA, and SML entered into a revenue assurance service contract. The 2023 contract extended the scope of SML services to include upstream petroleum and minerals audit. PPA approval was obtained for this contract, which is now the governing agreement for the services offered by SML to GRA. Another issue raised by KPMG is the absence of parliamentary approval for the contracts, given that they are multi-year contracts under Section 33 of the Public Financial Management Act 2016, Act 921. Such contracts must have ministerial and parliamentary approval. KPMG also found that there was no evidence that the 2018 and 2019 contracts, transaction audit services, external price verification, and downstream petroleum audits were submitted to the GRA board for discussion and approval, contrary to the GRA Act, Corporate Governance Manual for governing boards through councils of the public services, and sound and accepted corporate governance practices. The GRA board approved the extension of SML services to cover the auditing of the upstream petroleum and mineral sector specified in the 2023 contract. Regarding the transaction audit services, KPMG concluded that SML partially delivered on the service requirement. However, given the observations made during the investigations, GRA may not have obtained all the expected benefits from the service. This is also partly due to GRA's lack of instituting monitoring and evaluation processes to assess the performance of the service and hold its personnel and SML accountable for non-performance. Regarding the external price verification services, KPMG concluded that SML delivered partially on the service requirements, and that given the observations made during the investigations, GRA may not have obtained all the expected benefits from the service. It was noted that ICUMS has inbuilt capabilities of external price verification among other functions. 5. Regarding the downstream petroleum audit services, KPMG determined that there was an incremental volume of 1.7 billion litres and an incremental tax revenue of 2.45 billion for the period under review. There were also qualitative benefits, including a 24/7 electronic real-time monitoring of the outflow and partial monitoring of inflows of petroleum products at depots, where SML had installed flow meters. This serves as a deterrent for underdeclarations. Other qualitative benefits include 6 levels of reconciliation done by SML to prevent revenue losses to GRA and the sharing of discrepancy reports with GRA to follow up. SML had yet to implement the upstream petroleum audit and the minerals audit services, and therefore there could be no assessment as to whether GRA would derive value or benefit from the service. KPMG noted, however, that those are areas that could have significant revenue leakages, and that suggested, among other things, that a comprehensive needs assessment be conducted to establish a need for those services. The pricing model used in the contract was based on a variable fee structure. During its investigation, KPMG noted that such transaction monitoring services are usually priced using a fixed fee pricing model. The total fees under the contract from 2018 to the date of suspension amounts to 1,061,054,778 cedis. No fee has been paid for the upstream petroleum audit and minerals audit services. The total fees estimated to be paid to SML under the 2023 contract for 5 years is 5,173,091,857 cedis, which averages to about 1 billion cedis per year. Recommendations. KPMG made the following recommendations. The government, acting through Ministry of Finance and GRA, may terminate the contract with or without cause upon giving 120 days written notice before the effective date of termination stated in a termination notice. Upon termination, the government may be liable to pay SML for services already completed but not yet paid, and the government will not be entitled to a refund of any compensation already paid to SML, regardless of the termination cost. In the event of termination without cause, the government becomes liable to pay SML a return on investment equivalent to the fair value of SML's investment in the respective contract. The total investment value in the contract for the transaction audit and external price verification services and downstream petroleum audit service amounts to $44,180. The total investment value in the contract for the upstream petroleum audit and minerals audit service amounts to $133,486,722.51. The total investment value for all services provided by SML to GRA amounts to $177,530,902.51. KPMG noted that SML did not provide supporting documents or relevant information to verify the investment it has made. GRA must verify the investment if any of the services provided under the contract are terminated. The upstream petroleum and minerals audit could be a major source of revenue for the state, and if there are leakages, the impact could be significant. Therefore, KPMG recommended reviewing these services by conducting a comprehensive needs assessment and engaging stakeholders with diverse interests in the respective sectors. Furthermore, KPMG recommended the need for a value for money assessment in the contract performance process. Any contract for the provision of these services should comply with Section 33 of the PFMA. For the transaction audit, external price verification and downstream petroleum audit services, KPMG recommended that since SML has been providing that service for over 4 years, it has gained experience and become more proficient. KPMG thus recommended renegotiating the price levels, including shifting from a variable to a fixed fee structure. Monitoring and evaluation of service offered by SML should be done periodically in the contract. Also, there should be incorporation of needs assessment into public procurement practice. The President has accepted the recommendations of KPMG and directs as follows. I. The upstream petroleum audit and minerals audit services have not yet been commenced, and no payments have been made in respect of those services. Therefore, they may be terminated. However, given that upstream petroleum audit and minerals audit services could prevent significant revenue leakages, the President has directed that the Ministry and GRA conduct a comprehensive technical needs assessment, value for money assessment, and stakeholder engagement before implementing such services. II. The transaction audit and external price verification services may also be terminated. According to KPMG's findings, GRA obtained partial value or benefit for those services. This was also due to a lack of monitoring on the part of GRA to ensure that SML performed the services as stipulated in the contracts. KPMG's investigation found that GRA has introduced external price verification tools as part of ICUMS, amongst its other functions. This renders the reliance on SML for external price verification redundant. III. There's a clear need for the downstream petroleum audit services provided by SML. GRA and the state have benefited from these services since SML commenced providing them. There's been an increase in volumes of 1.7 billion litres and an increase in tax revenue to the state of 2.45 billion. KPMG also observed that there were qualitative benefits, including a 24/7 electronic real-time monitoring of outflow and partial monitoring of inflows of petroleum products at depots where SML had installed flow meters, and 6 levels of reconciliation done by SML. This minimizes the occurrence of under-declarations. However, it is important to review the contract for downstream petroleum audit services, particularly the fee structure. Given the experience and proficiency of SML over the last 4 years of providing this service, the President has directed that the fee structure be changed from a variable to a fixed fee structure. Other provisions of the contract worth reviewing include clauses on intellectual property rights, termination, and service delivery expectations. IV. SML's performance in any renegotiated contract should be monitored and evaluated periodically to ensure that it meets expectations. Any renegotiated contract should be compliant with Section 33 of the PFMA. The Ministry of Finance and the Ghana Revenue Authority are to give effect to the above directives of the President immediately and provide the Office of the President with an update of the steps taken. The President has extended his sincere gratitude to KPMG for the thorough nature of the audits conducted, and signed by Eugene, Director of Communications, Office of the President. So this just came in. And I'm sure that the folks at the Fourth Estate, Manasseh and his team, would have seen this by now. Hopefully, in the course of the day, they would have gone through with their lawyers and others. We'll check out the possibility of speaking with them tomorrow on this particular issue. But, Kwesi, it is clear that many laws were breached. One key thing is that in 2017 and 2018, when the PPA did not give them the approval, they hid under a contract with Blue West Blue and still give this contract out. So apparently this thing had been done from 2017, 2018 when PPA did not give them the approval. That's what it says. But nobody's being held responsible for that action, which obviously, I don't want to use adjectives to describe. We obviously know what it is. There was no technical assessment, although they say that it is not a legal requirement. I read it and in part, you read like we're also finding excuses for what was done. But long and short, some of them, they say you may terminate. Others, they say, look at how you can review, yes, and do it. I don't know what your initial comments. I'm sure that we are now going to go into this thing and read it properly. But based on what I've read, what the statement has said, at least they're telling us about KPMG's findings and recommendations and the government's directives. It's pretty obvious that a lot of the things that the Fourth Estate put out were right and correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with documents like this, it's important to avoid hasty comments. Yeah. And one would need to read the document itself and compare with other revelations which have been made by the Fourth Estate and others. But on face value, it does appear that the Fourth Estate has been vindicated on face value. There were many things which were done against the law without PPA approval. There were many things which were done which were not beneficial to the state of Ghana and so on. But I think that we should all wait a bit, a few hours, so that we can all read the report and read the president's, white paper, whatever it is, on it. And then we can be able to discuss it in a more meaningful manner, maybe from tomorrow.
Right.
But for now, the indication is, or the apparent indication is, that the Fourth Estate is vindicated.
All right. All right.
Yeah, so Randy, I think that in the context of governance, what this does is it stops actually, if you like, enriching our governance system. The principle behind the president actually commissioning a KPMG audit, for me, is important. And in the report itself, even though it's just a cursory look that I've taken, indicates that some processes were not adhered to. However, the principle behind whatever it is that they sought to do in terms of making sure that we do not have revenue losses and all of those things were established. Now, what means is that, like I've always indicated, when it comes to these audits, then it goes further to actually recommend systems and processes that needs to be activated to ensure that these things are mitigated, and then, of course, these things are forestalled. And so, of course, we'll take a bit of time to digest the full report. But I'm of the view that these are things that actually enriches, and it requires a certain level of commitment and boldness for even the presidency itself to, commission an audit, and then also issue a statement in that regard without concealing any of the findings that has been brought up by KPMG. And so as a people, one will get value for money for the things that we do, and then also that whatever it is that transpires, even in an institution like GRA, which is extremely important when it comes to our quest for development, they definitely have to adhere to these dictates of our democracy and not be a law unto themselves. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a step in the right direction. Some of the things that we need to commend about our democracy, and then, of course, not stop short there to make sure that these are things that do not repeat itself. And then, of course, I'm sure we'll have a longer time and an opportunity to interrogate the details and get to the gravamen of the issue.
All right. Okay. So something is happening this late afternoon at the UPSA. And it says the NDC to officially introduce Professor Nana Opoku-Agyeman as running mate. And there's an interesting development. Apparently, Global Info Analytics have also done a poll. And
another one.
Yes, on this one. And Musa Danko has actually published it. Now, the NDC is preparing to officially introduce Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as flag bearer for the upcoming general elections. The event is scheduled to take place today at the Kofi Ohene Kunedu Auditorium. And in a press statement issued yesterday, I read it on this show, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, emphasized the importance of the occasion, urging all invited guests and attendees to be seated by 4 p.m. prompt. And the ceremony is set to commence with a series of activities preceding the official start of the main program at 5 p.m. And at 5 p.m., we'll bring you live coverage of the main program. But this is what the Global Info Analytics have published. Analysis of the April 2024 poll on whether voters back John Mohammed's nomination of Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as a running mate for the December 2024 elections shows that 60% of voters who responded to the question support the decision. 15% do not support the decision, and 25% were neutral. Analysis of the poll also suggests that 79%, so you can see that on your screen. Okay. Analysis of the poll also suggests that 79% of NDC voters, 79%, support the decision. 9% oppose the decision, and 12% were neutral. Surprisingly, 49% of NPP voters who responded to the question also support Professor Jane Nana's nomination, while 22% oppose it and 29% were neutral. Among floating voters, 54% support the decision, 16% oppose it, and 30% were neutral. This was the reason there was little uproar when the name was announced. And Global Info Analytics says, follow us for polls on running mate nominations of the MPP when it is eventually announced for public view. So this is it. 79% of NDC voters support the decision, 9% are opposed to it, 12% neutral. 49% of NPP voters support the nomination, 22% oppose it, 29% neutral. 54% of floating voters support, 16% oppose it, 30% neutral.
There's nothing to say. There's really nothing to say. Yeah. Maybe if we knew the methods and so on, we could say something, but these are clear. And I don't think that this figure suggests anything extraordinary. I had always known and said that should be a popular choice.
All right, yes, sir.
I think it's very little to say. It's just that, it would have been interesting to see a poll prior to the announcement. If there was a poll that actually sort of pitched some names that are in the public domain against her nomination, and then prior to the announcement of her running mate's nomination. And then after, then it will be, we can triangulate that and see if it makes any difference. Because when it comes to running mates choices, I think that after the decision has been made, people will just, take it and move with it. Within a political party space, you're definitely enjoying to support in principle, any candidate or any nominee that has been presented to you by the chosen flag bearer. So it's not in doubt that at the party level, based on what this is saying, that you would get some overwhelming support. The conversation now moves away from the internal support to if it's able to actually translate into a general public conversation and how the general public will accept that. And so for me,
so if you look at the report, if you go outside the NDC, I mean, what it shows is that she has very, very, very great support, almost 80% inside the party. Now, if you look at the MPP, which is the opposition party, you have just 16% of NPP members opposed to her nomination. And then if you look at floating voters, only 9% are opposed to her nomination. So these two groups are outside the
but it's still significantly lower. But the truth of the matter is that, I mean, sometimes there's a certain, if you like, over criticism of our politics and how negative we make it seem, right? But it will not be the case that any MPP person, for example, would have, if you like, personal issues with somebody who's been nominated as a running mate. You know what I'm saying? I think that sometimes we focus our energies on the very negatives, even across political parties. I'm sure that throughout her professional engagements and education and life and all of those things, she would have come across persons who are on the other side and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So as to persons being favorable to her nomination, I don't think that is a big deal. In the final analysis, these are persons who will still have to go to the polls and make a decision as to if the choice of a running mate, for example, is a significant enough consideration to choose a president. I mean, and I think that probably in terms of the research that are being commissioned, maybe we can also delve into that, if it actually plays a significant role or not. And if that is the case, I mean, there are clear examples of the contributions of some running mates that has actually allowed for example, when it comes to the MPP, it's very clear that the impact that the vice president, now the flag bearer, has actually brought to our electoral fortunes is very clear for everybody to see. It's actually changed the dynamics. So you had this political party that had certain strongholds, and all of a sudden, even when you go up north, I mean, the NPP is extremely strong. So maybe we can delve deeper, and the students of politics and those who actually are researchers can actually do some more work in that space.
Yes.
I mean, these statistics are not surprising at all. First and foremost, there is no controversy around the professor. I mean, since he became Minister of Education, Vice Chancellor in university up till now, I haven't seen the normal controversies which surround politicians around here. Okay. So that's a factor which may find expression in the statistics which have been revealed. Now, the other thing is that she herself appears to make an effort to avoid controversy. You listen to her, she talks, and really, there's no controversy around her. So that's also a very key factor. The third thing which may be instructive in looking at these statistics is just the fact that she's a woman. And as they say, a woman who is breaking through the glass ceiling and so on. It adds something to her and so on. But these polls are not the election results for December 2024. They are important to look at, but they are still not the election results for 2024. And these polls do not factor in the likelihood, the consequences, the gravity, the possibility of rigging. That's all.
Rigging what?
No pool can factor in the possibility of rigging.
Okay.
That's what
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that actually came in, but
no, it's just a scientific assessment of.
Yeah.
So this is what Mrs. Joyce Bar Mokhtari has to say about it.
An article about the
yes,
in the graphic
yes,
today,
yes. As she says that Nana Jane embodies both authority. I'm quoting her part. Both authority and authenticity. She has credibility in a field often plagued by skepticism and suspicion. Her record is impressive, and she exudes a refreshing air of confidence. She avoids divisive tendencies and instead focuses on the task at hand. In addition to her personal qualities, Nana Jane is a fierce advocate for the voiceless, especially women. In a country where gender equality remains a distant dream for many, her rise to political prominence sends a powerful message of empowerment and representation. As the first female vice chancellor of a Ghanaian institution, she broke down many barriers, paving the way for many more. Dadaba, Wesley girls. Dadaba, Wesley girls. Lawyer. I mean, what else? What else should we expect? All right. Are you aware that there's confusion in public transport and lorry parks and all that?
Well, I've seen a
over
report,
transport fares.
Yeah, I've seen a report, with a photograph, I think in the Daily Graphic of today, about,
and also in the Ghanaian Times,
about serious confrontations between passengers and drivers. And I wonder, what have the drivers done? What have the drivers done? If you have some anger to express, why is it directed at the poor driver who is like you, who is suffering like you?
The government has told the passenger that the driver has no right to increase the fare. And so the passenger sees the driver as engaging in an unlawful or illegal activity.
That's a problem. Huh? The passenger and the driver, they're all the same. They're all mob people. They're all suffering consequences of government action and so on. So if passengers elect to listen to government, it's their own business. Who increased the price of fuel?
But
whose actions and inactions have led to this probably?
The passengers know that government, together with the transport unions, announces the fares. It is not a unilateral decision. So government says that no. Government is even asked the police to go and arrest drivers who charge unapproved fares. I don't know
so can passengers see that this government, what it is doing, is to use the local parlance, Canana.
Eric, why do we make simple things so complex and whatever? And I told the story last Friday by a little cousin, Leslie. He was telling me about a strategy that the drivers have employed. So, from Malam.
It's the old trick.
So, but that's what they're doing now. That Malam to Circle is 5 cedis, 50 pesos. That's the fare. But because of this situation now, they load Malam to Odoko. So Malam to Odoko. Then when they get to Odoko, everybody alights. Then they now load Odoko to Kaneshi. You get to Kaneshi, everybody alights. Then they load Kaneshi to Circle. Now, in the process, you the passenger, so you've sat in the same vehicle 3 times. You know, you alight and you
it's a fixed.
And then you get to pay 8 cedis, 50 pesos, instead of the 5 cedis, 50 pesos, if they have loaded free. In so doing, they have not broken the law.
But it's an old trick.
Yes. But that's what is happening now. So in any case, the passengers are ending up paying 8 cedis, 50 pesos, instead of 5 cedis, 50 pesos anyway. So, I mean, what do we think we're doing?
So, I mean, Randy, I think that this whole pegging of...
Actually, that truck fare could get to even 1 cedi before.
Well, the world is changing.
World? It's not the world which is changing. Your Ghana is changing. Concentrate on your Ghana. Transport fares in Cuba have not gone up for well over 50 years?
Because they have an effective public transport system. That's just one.
Exactly.
Two, they've managed to. Because you see, I've said this.
That is in spite of the blockade.
I've said this about 4 times from last week. That this regulated transport fare system, to be fair to the drivers, as you said, the passengers must look at the drivers. To be fair to them, look, we had regulated transport fares at a time when fuel, which is the most important variable in the expenditure of transporters is concerned, at a time when that was also regulated. And so there was some certainty in the price of petroleum products over a long period. And so if you also had the pricing of transport fares regulated, it made sense. Now government realized that it was raking in a lot of losses, and so we should deregulate. And we deregulated it. So petroleum pricing is no longer regulated. Yet we've kept transport fares regulated. So the truck driver who has to pay X amount to the car owner as, what do they call it? Sales. He goes to the filling station this morning, it's 10 cedis per liter. He goes in the afternoon, it's 12 cedis per liter. He goes the following day, it's 14 cedis per liter. Yet, the transport fare is fixed. Same way if it goes down. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
It goes down, right?
Yeah, on rare occasions. You know?
No, but it has. I mean,
on rare occasions.
The price of fuel has gone down.
No, on rare occasions.
Yeah, it has.
My friend.
No, but there was a point that they had. No, but it has gone down. What Randy is saying.
That's why I say on rare occasions.
Yes. So,
but in the life of the truck driver, there is uncertainty with respect to how much they must pay for fuel.
KK price is deregulated. When he goes to buy a tin of milk for his baby, it's deregulated. Everything is deregulated. He alone, his fare must be regulated.
But I think that
the whole economy has been deregulated.
No, I also think that even the drivers themselves have some peer, if you like, regulations that they apply to themselves in terms of how they run their various transport unions and all of those things. And for the sake of some kind of consistency and to avoid chaos, they do some self-regulation. And over the period, it has worked. I mean, you have GPRT and all of those things that have their ways of, arriving at these fair prices. And then they will do that in tandem with government, so that there's some level of consistency across board. And I think that they have a mechanism in place that actually would allow for either an increase or a decrease, right? And I'm sure that once you apply those systems, we would have some kind of consistency to avoid the chaos. Because the government, and this didn't happen with just this government, from time immemorial, GPRTU and those recognized transport unions, depending on the level of increase, would come to a certain arrangement and agree on some prices going forward. Of course, you take each individual driver as an entrepreneur, a business person, and they want to maximize as much profit as possible, and so they are entitled to. No, that's what I'm saying. They are, but I'm not saying that they are. All I'm saying is that so they will be looking at their interest and looking at making sure that at least they can make ends meet and run a system that is beneficial to all of us, right? So for me, I think that because the system has worked over the period. This is not the first time that we've had some kind of collaboration between the transport unions and government, i.e. the Ministry of Transport, to arrive at this fare, so that the passengers themselves would like to know exactly how much it is that they're supposed to pay, so that you don't have errant drivers telling you different prices, and people are able to plan properly. So of course there are some challenges within the space. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know if it's true, the leaders of the transport unions are here to actually meet and agree on these new prices that are being implemented. And that I think that we should accord them that respect and not ruin a system that has been working, as far as I'm concerned, perfectly over a period.
But the system has not been working for a while.
Many of us who engage in these discussions and debates and so on do not know what the drivers go through. So sometimes we tend to speak, glibly. You know what the drivers go through. Drivers are very, very poor. The average driver wakes up at 3 a.m., leaves the house by 4, and continuously works up to about 9, 10 in the evening. And even that, many of them are not able to make their daily sales payments to the car owners. And you'll be surprised that if you, in the field, if you don't make your daily sales to the car owner and so on, in 3 days, they take the car from you. So what these poor drivers do is to borrow money to pay the sales. They are heavily indebted. When they are not able to make the sales, they actually go and borrow money from Shiloh to be able to pay. Their health deteriorates very fast because of the stress and strain of their vocation and so on. So drivers cannot be described as profiteers. They are not. They don't intend to profit. Drivers, they really suffer. Talk to them directly.
In fact, Nana Kumia, who's the MD of STC, on this same program, has lamented how the system is not working. How even an organization like STC is affected terribly by this. And he even shows in percentage terms the impact of fuel as far as the operations are concerned. And he says that, look, there ought to be a system where the increment or decrement in pricing ought to be triggered by some variables. So the same way you have the deregulated, then you can decide to even do it quarterly or whatever period that you want. But there must be something which says that when A, B, C, D happens, it will trigger that. Because the truth of the matter is that if the man is doing sales 100 cedis and petrol is 30 cedis a gallon, and he goes to the pump and petrol has gone to 40 cedis, it affects his work. Meanwhile, he is unable to increase his transport fares. But the filling station and government have decided that as for them, when forex and crude price are adjusted, the prices must adjust. But as for him, the driver, when the fuel price goes up, he cannot adjust. There obviously is something inherently wrong with that. There's something I can understand the chaos if transport fares have to change on an hourly basis or daily basis like it happens there. But we could also devise a fare system.
No, I agree with you on that.
Yes, we could devise a fare system to do that. Anyway, we need to go. But on the SML thing that I read, Dr. Keselatu Forsen, Honorable Minority Leader, has just sent me a short one. It says, interesting outcomes. We'll review the response from the Jubilee House and respond appropriately. So that's from the Minority Leader, Dr. Keselatu Forsen. So, Eric and Kwesi, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
A big happy birthday once again to you, former Chief of Staff, the Honorable Julius Deborah. Happy 50th birthday. Eric.
Former Chief of Staff.
Which question?
You don't know what question to ask Mr. Julius Deborah.
I beg you, don't put me into trouble.
That's no trouble. Just ask him. This birthday 58.
Where the action day? JD at 58. Where did the action? He also likes action power.
You want proper action.
You want proper action. Not the 2x4.
2x4.
So, Chief, they say if I do the do, So happy birthday to you, and a big happy birthday to my big brother, Mr. Fred Papo Papse. Happy birthday to you. Papier, happy birthday to you. I know how you celebrate it. So happy birthday to you, Papier, as well. No questions for Papier. I'm sure he's at work now. His office is just 4 doors from 4 blocks, not blocks, 4 buildings from here. There's an embassy on this road.
You can go there and destroy it. You can go there and destroy it.
The security is tight. You can only find him at the Accra Great Olympics training grounds. So maybe around 4 o'clock, you can go and get him there. Anyway, so that'll be it. Up next, GMG Trends.
Electoral has sachets and in different sizes too.
You didn't know?
These fried sachets that we all use to fry our meat and fishes, to prepare our favorite meals, and to refill our empty original fried bottles.
Hey! I'm sure you are a fellow Ghanaian.
Get your trusted fried sachets today for affordability, convenience, and for the refilling of your original Frital bottle.
Frital, you deserve a life of goodness. This advert is FDA approved.
Fortune rice. It's me emu ediane biara. Yansio kakre bipe. Emu no nkikamu. Na ne hwam ne dedie. Delicious. Said your mom no pepepe. Ya the fortune emopa abedwaso. Ghana mo ede. Ma emu ediane nyina.
FDA ejedi nkratoa yatum.
Alive soap. Just like how water refreshes you on a hot sunny day, it takes a refreshing bath with Alive soap to feel its pleasant fragrances. The soap I want and need at the end of every day, leaving you with soft, smooth and fresh looking skin. You make me feel alive, you really brighten my day, my day. Available in lemon, coconut, rose and aloe vera fragrance. Alive soap. Feel fresh, feel alive.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Time to check out what is trending on social media with Desi, the star boy. Hey. Oh, but I'm happy that you're up. I'm happy you're up. In fact, I'm happy that you're even wearing a blue shirt. I mean, you're the man. You're the man.
So you're
Berman.
who were slaved.
Hey.
Do you know
what you're doing? Look, it's called a La strategy. La as in formerly Labadi. It's called a La strategy.
Doc, what's that?
You attack yourself first.
Why did I even watch the ball? Yesterday I left here at 9 p.m. I watched the game in this building. I left here disappointed.
But you found your way home?
Okay.
All right. Not all were able to get home.
Yeah, true. It was very horrible.
We thank God for your life.
Very, very horrible. 5-0. Hey, today.
It could have been 10.
It could have been. Like, we didn't play anything. Nothing. Havertz, they scored, they do. On that note, Abdul Fattah.
Isahaku.
Yesterday, he played very well against Southampton. Scored a hat-trick. And then that's what he did. He did the baby jet dance there. So that's it. He did the back on. He scored a hat trick there. Gave an assist.
So he did a flip too.
Yeah, he did a flip. Yeah, he did it.
Every goal and what it did.
Well, for the first goal, this is what he did.
Yes.
He did a flip.
Yes.
And then for the second goal, he just ran to his teammates. And for the third one, he did a back on and on. Yeah. So Leicester already promoted into the Premier League.
Who said that?
Doc, I thought they had won.
There are 2 games more.
But at this point,
technically,
it
looks like it's the first 2.
Yes.
In the championship, the first 2 automatically qualify.
Yeah.
Then from 3rd to 6th, we engage in a playoff. So the 4th team will play the 6th team in a semi-final. The 3rd team will play the 5th team in a semi-final.
Okay.
At Wembley.
Then
the 2 finalists will play the final. And the winner will join the top 2.
Okay.
So currently, it's really
Ipswich is giving them a tough
Ipswich
time.
is number 2.
Yeah.
But they have, I think, 87.
Yeah.
87 or I think 87 or 89. They have 87, and then I think Ipswich has 84.
Yeah.
So I think that one more victory
should do it for them.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Leicester has 94.
94 rather.
Yes, and Leeds has 90 before Ipswich 89. Okay. So we'll see how that one goes.
So you see, Ipswich has what?
The Ipswich has 89
and how many games?
And left 1 game more to tally that of Leicester.
So you see, Ipswich has, I said technically, Ipswich has 3 games.
Yeah.
3 games.
Yeah.
If they won all 3 games, they get 9 points.
Okay.
That takes them to 98.
Okay. True.
If Leicester loses the 2 games.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they need to.
It's a tough race.
No, they need to just win 1 more. Yeah. Or let Ipswich drop
points.
A game. Yeah. But the most important thing is to focus on yourself.
True. Leicester City, good to be having. Hopefully, if they go through, good that we'll be having them back in the Premier League. Jamie still there.
He gave the old man an assist.
Yeah, he didn't leave himself in DD.
Leave where? Leave
Leicester.
To where?
Alcobenya.
Where?
Anyway, today's the birthday of the National Chief Imam.
Yesterday.
So today, 105.
My birthday was yesterday. Chief Imam's birthday was yesterday.
It was posted today.
But 105
yes.
It's a year-long celebration.
Yeah, 105 a year also.
We can wish the Chief Imam a birthday every day.
Yeah. Okay. So happy birthday to him. I saw a lot of posts in there about him and all that. So 105 is a very big one. 105. Someone tagged the Guinness World Record. That they should look into it. Maybe you'll be the oldest
there are people
Chief Imam.
Okay. Maybe.
Oldest Imam. Yes.
Well.
Yeah, so that's the very honorable man there, the National Chief Imam. But today is a big one. It's a J&J.
He speaks Ghana better than me.
Really?
No. Anytime I speak with him, we speak Ghana.
Okay.
His Ghana is... speaks impeccable Ghana.
Wow. The Ghana over yourself.
Too much.
Well, today, also trending is John and Jane because there'll be the formal presentation of the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, my alma mater. And I just had to add that. Of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Jane Nano Pukwaja.
Is that Standogwe standing there?
Well, to the wall, I should think so.
Okay.
Should think so. So yeah, she will actually be presented today, and a lot of talks going on Twitter with the trend John and Jane 2024 in a country where gender equality remains a distant dream for many. Prof. Nana's rise to political prominence sends a powerful message of empowerment and representation. Okay, a lot of things being said about her. Nice things, of course. As the drums of democracy grow louder ahead, persons on the ticket with John Mahama guarantees success and a brighter and more inclusive future for all Ghanaians. So it's going to be quite a big one for the NDC today. Doc, the magic on the third would work?
Oh yeah, I think that the quality of Prof is not in doubt. She's achieved so much. She's been in a field dominated by men, and she has risen to the very, very top. She has an unblemished record of public service. Yeah. So whether it's academia, whether it's public service, whether it's media, whether it's advocacy, in whichever field that she's found herself, she has demonstrated, impeccable capability and all other qualities. And so, we need people like this in the public space, especially in leadership. And so we can wish her well.
Okay. We
will listen to her today. And I'm sure that she will give us a lot of sound bites.
She will. She will. And definitely, you've got to stick with us here on Metro TV, as we would be following that particular story also. But no, just before I go, Yvonne also said Imani should come again and help her. They should do another video.
Yes, I saw the post.
Yeah.
And then I saw
Imani's response.
And I think this morning I've seen another response from Franklin Kujo. And Franklin makes the point that Imani as an institution does not organize or engage in demonstrations. But Kofi Bentil, who is one of their vice presidents, was part of a group.
Yeah, earlier.
A group. I've forgotten the name, something justice or something. And that group was part of, they were involved in a demonstration. So it was like Kofi Bentil acted in his personal capacity.
Yeah.
And if you read Yvonne's post, she talks about Kofi Bentil putting a call through to her. And she even makes the point that Franklin she doesn't have Franklin's contact. And that is why she's writing on social media, which further buttresses the point that it wasn't Imani as an institution. But of course, Yvonne also knew that she was dealing with Kofi Bentil of Imani. I hope you understand.
Yes, I get that.
So I guess just that clarification.
Yeah, clarification there.
It is not Imani as the institution that organized it, but
it was an individual.
Kofi Bentil, who was the vice president of Imani, who was then working with some other people, were part of the demonstration. The truth of the matter is that, Kofi has a call from Yvonne on the need for them to do something.
But the big man now you say about Dr. Bamia for
what has that got to do with demonstration?
Maybe the demo.
It was a doomsday demonstration.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a demonstration about who should become president. So Yvonne is not asking for a demonstration for who should become president or against who should become president.
Oh, okay.
He said the principles for which we demonstrated. Let's demonstrate. That's all. Simple.
Okay. On that note, doomsday must stop. We're tired.
But Franklin participated in the demo.
Yeah. So, like I said yesterday, if there's a new one, which in a few and far, before hit to the streets, because that's in the worry. Yesterday, I had to stay here a while because I had to call home first that lights day. Say lights no day. and I had to stay here and watch the Chelsea game here to be humiliated like that.
So we are part of the reasons why electricity bill is going up. I now know. You guys stay here just to watch TV, football, and put on the air conditioners and all that.
No, it's part of our job.
We'll start surcharging you.
The sports department.
You are now part of the sports department.
They will have to watch the game and analyze it. So we join them in the analysis.
No problem.
Yes. That's it for the show today. Thank you for joining us. My name is Desi the Starboy.
Up next, Metro Sports.
You've got the runway walk of your dreams or a unique look that sets you apart.